Okay. OCO. That is Cherokee for hello. And today I'm going to be talking about the Indian nations of Oklahoma, more specifically 3 of the 5 civilized tribes: the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, and the Choctaw. They are the more well-known. The majority of people from Oklahoma know when you say Chickasaw, Cherokee, or Choctaw what you're talking about, and even what sections they're located in. In the Cherokee tribes, which I found on funtrivia.com, there are some things like the kind of clothes that they wore, the wedding ceremonies, and the kind of sports they like to play. But the sports weren't always for just play. One of the articles of clothing is the tear dress. It is a dress that originated in the 1800s, and it was started because of the Trail of Tears. It is multicolored, called calico, and each of the colors symboled the things that they had to do, or the things that they went through while marching on the Trail of Tears. The material has diamonds in it and some buttons, and it is still worn today to honor the men, or the women, not the men, but the women, excuse me, men don't wear dresses, at least back then they didn't, to honor the women that marched on the Trail of Tears. And on the weddings that the Cherokees had, in today's American traditions, the women wear blue. It's something borrowed, something blue, you know, something like that. Well, the Cherokees, both the men and the women, wore blue in their outfits that they wore. And instead of exchanging vows or rights, their wedding consisted of exchanging food, which that would be my way to go. You know, the men would bring the meat, they would bring the ham or the venison, more likely it would be deer. The bride would bring the bread. I guess that's a symbol of, you know, hey, I can cook bread, you're going to live, because bread's very fattening. It would be cornbread or bean bread. And one of the games they liked to play was stickball or lacrosse. It'd be lacrosse in like the American culture, but it's stickball. And it was used more for to settle a dispute. And when they used it to settle a dispute, it would be men and women could play, but women could only use their hands. And the medicine man would be the one to throw the ball up, and the goal was to get the ball to hit the little wooden fish that they'd carved out. You know, so much, it was a competitive sport, but so much funner sounding than the sports now today. The Chickasaws and the Choctaws were actually combined at one point in time. So a lot of their stuff is similar. They can actually carry on conversations and kind of know what each other means. Their language is very similar. But the Chickasaws shave their heads. The men shave their heads, and they have like a little patch of hair back here. It's called the scalp lock. And the Choctaws wore the men and women both wore long hair, but the men cut their hair in like a mohawk fashion. That's how you can tell the difference between the two. But when their living arrangements are similar, like the roles of the men and women, the men, they hunt, they go to war if need to protect their families. The women cultivated the land. The women were the farmers. They did the child care, and they also did the cooking, which is kind of not unsimilar to today. I mean, the men go out and earn the bacon, and the women cook and take care of the children, even though we work too sometimes, or go to school. But they all told stories. They were all good at storytelling. They all did the traditional medicines, and they all, you know, took part in the music. These 3 tribes had something all similar, as in they were part of the 5 civilized tribes. The other 2 tribes were the Seminole and the Creek, which I won't get into, but all 3 of these walked the Trail of Tears. And until they divided the Chickasaw, like I said, the Chickasaw and the Choctaw were together, and they just divided over differences. And they went their separate ways. Sometimes they fought in wars, and sometimes they sat there and, you know, fought together in wars. So, but I got all this stuff from the Chickasaw government website and a website for actually homeschooling kids. You know, not that I'm going to homeschool mine anytime soon, but I focus mainly on the Cherokee because I know you can't see it. I'm kind of white, like really white, but I'm part Cherokee, and that stuff kind of interests me, and I didn't even know about it. I've grown up around some Cherokees, and I didn't even know some of that stuff. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation today, and I thank you for coming.
Sure. Well,